Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight, and my guests tonight are indie horror filmmakers Sheilava and Tori Rice. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. We really appreciate you reaching out.
Oh, anytime. Let's talk about your guys' upcoming project you guys are doing. You also have an Indiegogo campaign, too, for it. Tell me a little bit about it.
Tori, do you want to start or do you want me to jump in?
It's a good question. I guess, Sheila, you can start since it's your song.
Yeah. So the project is called MAD, M-A-D. Not like I'm angry, but like I'm going insane. And originally, back in 2019, one of our good friends, Robert Moore, who is also a cinematographer and director of photography, he reached out to me saying, I would love to make a music video for this song you have. And he specifically chose Mad. He said there was something about the lyrics that resonated with him. And originally we were going to work with one of his friends to try and bring more of like a cinematic, a very vivid storytelling aspect to it. Not just have like a band playing, right? You know, because there's performance music videos and there's more narrative music videos. Push comes to shove, the pandemic happened, and then I became a mother, and lots of things happened, and we never got to make that music video. Well, this year comes around, I reached back out to Robert Moore and asked, would you still like to do that? Like, we're all here. The horrors of getting through that pandemic are finally, it finally feels like everything's back to normal, right? And then I've also kind of settled into the new mom life, so I feel like I have a hold on things. The only tricky part was the woman he originally reached out to help us with this project. She moved to Corpus, so she couldn't devote a lot of time. Instantaneously, I was like, Tori, like, we need you. If we're going to have anybody get us through this extreme like vision and the extreme size of this project, it's going to be Tori Rice. So Tori Rice is one of my best friends. We did a horror thriller music video last year. It was more of a narrative one as well. And she also directed and produced that alongside me and Robert Moore. And now I guess, Tori, if you want to take the reins, maybe talk a little bit about how you saw this in your own mind's eye and everything you're doing to make it as creative as possible. Because it's not going to be just your typical run-of-the-mill cutesy poo escape to Wonderland type story.
Yeah, you're pretty right on that. I mean, I think what was just interesting is when Sheila was talking about the initial idea, and I was just going to be, I think, like a gaffer for Robert at the time. And I was like, this video sounds way more interesting than the last one we did. And you're making me want to direct it before we even like decided that I was going to do it. So it happened. Luckily, it just happened to kind of work out. And I'm normally a cinematographer full time. But I've directed a lot of films before. And this one just seemed so much more out there. And I was like, we could do so much with this. And then, I don't know, I'm a pretty dark person as far as like, I usually like to shoot psychological thrillers and horrors. And I feel like I really got a knack for the creative side of that genre. So I think once we decided to do this, I was like, we're really going to need money.
That's always nice.
It's just because Sheila said, she's like, I have some savings and we can do that. And when we did Cage, we just used our own money, and like, just like scrounging up what savings we had. But for this, because it's so extensive, it's so, period, and Alice in Wonderland, just theme in general, just there's so many different characters and different set decoration. props and stuff. Like, everything's so dramatic that I was like, we need funding. We just need, like, a bunch of money that we can actually make this product, like, 10 times better than what we had originally. So that's when I was like, Sheila, like, let's do a Kickstarter or, you know, a campaign, raise some money. And now we're just luckily being able to, like, pay for outfits and set decoration and, like, food and stuff. And that's kind of how that started as far as, like, why we decided to do the campaign.
That's pretty cool. So it's going to be like a twisted Alice in Wonderland is it going to be like a apocalyptic type of style of music video shoot? It's going to be like dark?
Yeah, so the song itself, it's more, I would say, like rock, pop.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on in the song. When you look at the lyrics, they are very, very dark. I would say almost depressing. And it really focuses in on mental health and how we can consume ourselves, essentially, with our own thoughts. How other people's actions and words toward us can also consume us. And the song originally started from a poem I wrote several years ago when I was in a dark place. So instead of crafting the music video towards the song itself, as far as the instrumentals, you know, the piano, the bass, the drums, it's instead going to speak to the lyrics. That's where Tori's coming in. She's bringing all of her ideas to life as far as, like, the creative direction, the wardrobe, the props, making this world. The dark that kind of gets thrown in there between Tori and myself is how do we portray what's happening in the song. And we came up with this idea that, you know, Alice always returns to Wonderland when she's dealing with a lot, right? If you watch the Disney movie, she doesn't want to do her lessons. Her mom is like, it's time to do your reading lesson or whatever it was, literature lesson. And Alice is like, oh, I don't want to. I wish I could just go into an imaginary place where nothing is what it is. And it's cute. It's fun. She gets really freaked out after a while and she's like, okay, this is like too much. I want to go back home. You see the live action remakes, they get a little darker, right? Alice is now a teenager. Her parents are talking about forcing her to marry somebody. She sees her brother-in-law cheating on her sister, right? Stuff like that. These really dark, a little bit more adult situations. Our version is, you know, we're not trying to make me into a 15-year-old girl. We're kind of portraying me as I look. We're, you know, dressing me up a little bit. But it's the idea of this adult Alice. She's trying to escape problems, feelings, thoughts, past trauma. But Alice cannot go back to the Wonderland that she had before. She's aging, and so is Wonderland. Excuse me. To the point where she returns to this Wonderland and everything looks completely different. We're filming at the Secret Theater, and everything there is, it does look like a post-apocalyptic situation. Like, everything is rusted over. Everything is, like, shredded and torn. If you're not familiar with Secret Theater in Austin, it is this giant 1 to 2 acre lot that has, like, Instagrammable spots everywhere. There's a rose wall. There's a piano underneath a tree. There's an entire bus that somebody gutted out, and there's, like, really old-timey chairs and rugs inside the bus, like, for you to sit down and have a meal. There's a glass house with a checkerboard floor. There's a gazebo. There's an entire patio setting so we can have a giant tea party, right? And then there's all kinds of little bicycles and old-timey vehicles that are just rusted over from the last 2 ice apocalypses that Austin has had. Everything looks like a wasteland. We want to play to that. We're going to decorate still. We're going to add some picture frames and wooden chairs, hang stuff from trees. We're going to dress it up even more. But the idea is that Wonderland is not this cute, pretty, colorful, whimsical place of wonder that she can escape to. She's trying to escape her problems, her thoughts, her feelings, and her emotions. And she's realizing that she can't do that anymore. She's getting older. Life is getting harder. As we age, you know, shit gets real. The world is like, it can become a really dark place. When you get older, you see more bad things happen. The thing that kind of warps her even more is that these characters are all very different. They each represent a different part of her mind. And it isn't until later that everything consumes her and she finally realizes that all the characters are actually her. And then there's a sense of peace that comes knowing that, like, you're facing, like, she's facing all these characters, she's interacting with them. It's like facing your own demons, or like pulling the skeletons out of the closet, or all, you know, all those things they say about like addressing your fears, facing your fears. So that's kind of the story behind everything. It's going to be a more adult, talking about mental health and stuff like that. Tori is the creative genius about how to make it look like that, and that is all her.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Now, let's go and talk about the other horror music video you did. I know Tori did some great touches on it, and I just loved it. I mean, I love the cinematography shots, the darkness mixed with the natural lighting and everything. Let's talk about the song you sang, The Cage. That video was wild, and you always have that great phenomenal voice. If silk was real, your voice would sound smooth as silk.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Yeah, I'm going to briefly talk about this songwriting process, because it felt like the tiniest part of this, music video. And then I'm going to let Tori take the reins, because all the visuals, all the costumes, she literally put together this giant tapestry. Like, she hand sewed some tassels on it to make the curtain for that cage. I'm going to let her talk about that. But
yeah, let's
the song itself.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, the song itself, I was actually inspired by the Netflix TV series You. It's called You, Y-O-U.
Yeah.
And the idea that somebody is just so in love with someone, like so infatuated to a very sickeningly degree. It drives them insane. Like, they go to any length to contain that love, right? And spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen the You TV series. He puts the girl he loves inside of a glass box, and he keeps her there like she's his property. Tori took my song and she made this whole world out of it. She instead had this girl so obsessed with the idea of fame and popularity and also love. She has a little love interest as well, to the point where she cages this creature to prove herself to everybody. So I'll let Tori take the reins. She took my song and made it 10 times cooler.
Oh, hell yeah, she did. I love her warped mind. She's a genius. And if I was ever a filmmaker, if I ever decided to make a film, damn, I would hire Tori right on the spot. But go ahead, Tori.
Wow, all the praises. What do I do with it? Yeah, I think what was interesting about that song, I think compared to Mad, is because I listened to all of Sheila's music. I think that one stuck out the most because it was so different than everything else that Sheila's ever done before, style-wise. And I really didn't want it to be it's a very much like a rave song you would listen to in a club.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't want that. And I was like, what is a kind of polar opposite situation that we could do that's way more interesting, that tells a story within a video that could be kind of gruesome. And so I was just I really dived into the lyrics and kind of made it fit with I could just picture this woman kind of in I guess what time period do you think that would be, Sheila, that we were talking about? Was that 16?
Yeah, I would say, the beauty, I'm just going to throw this on the table really quick. The beauty of what you created is that it seems timeless. You could say 1600s, but there are aspects of it that bring out the 20s. When circus life was the entertainment. There was no TV. There was, radio was still getting fixed and whatnot. People went to the circus to be entertained. So I would say even, it has elements of 20s and 30s in it. And the wardrobe that you worked out with everybody, because we pieced stuff together with less than less than nothing, basically. It was like a no budget. The pieces are also indicative of that. You have one person in this outfit and this other outfit. If you look really closely, it kind of spans across, it looks like it spans across multiple decades. So I kind of love that. I prefer that, you know, it has something for everybody.
Yeah.
And
it's like ambiguous. Yeah, I really kind of pictured, I was really into the show Penny Dreadful. And that's kind of what I was picturing a little bit, just like all these like weirdos kind of together, hiding themselves. And, you know, I don't know. I think that the most challenging part was the fact that I was like, yeah, Sheila, you're also going to play the creature. And so that was challenging in itself, on top of the location giving us half the time we needed to get it done. And, you know, just the amount of work Sheila had to do. And, you know, I also knew if we were going to make this creature real, we had to pay good money to make prosthetics good. And, you know, I think that was the biggest thing for me. I was like, out of everything, I want to make sure that the creature looks like a creature and not like a stupid fabricated thing that like you wouldn't believe is, you know, real.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as Sheila said, I made a lot of the stuff for it. I sewed a whole cover for the cage because I really wanted like the red and the gold and this symbol, you know, symbolizing the creature is kind of her ticket out, or her ticket to be impressive to everybody else. At first, I really wanted it to be more like I wanted it to be that everybody was there at like kind of like an auction and they wanted to buy her. Like I originally wanted multiple creatures in my mind, and I wanted her to be selling a bunch of things, just weird things. And, you know, you would see hands like being thrown up with numbers of who wants to buy what. And then all the creatures would kill everybody. That was like, that would be way cooler, but we didn't have time for that.
That would be so wild. So Sheila, what was it like to have all that monster makeup and prosthetics on you, and in the creature costume while you're, you know, going all crazy and killing everybody?
Well, I will say this. I've told multiple people that, you know, Tori's one of my best friends. She's literally like a sister to me. But like, if there's anything that's going to be the death of me, it's Tori's brilliant mind, because that costume, like, she designed the wardrobe, and like, you know, she was talking back and forth with our SFX artist. Originally we were thinking like, should it be a vampire, should it be a dragon? And then they settled on this kind of like conglomerate of like, again, ambiguous nature. But to make it look that creepy, yes, Zach Smith from San Antonio had to come to my house at 4 a.m. and he's like, I'm going to spray paint you, so make sure you cover everything. I had my walls covered. I had my floors covered. Everything was covered in tarp. And I have this mesh costume that Tori handcrafted for me. I'm like basically naked. He puts these like prosthetics to cover my areas. He glues these prosthetics to my face, to these horns, to my hair, and then these teeth. Let me tell you, I could barely breathe with these teeth he gave me. They were huge teeth. They were creepy looking. Like, if you see some of our behind the scenes photography, oh my gosh, it looks like a real demon. And, you know, it's so worth it. But I could not breathe. I could not talk. Like, I like this. Like, I couldn't open my mouth. I couldn't eat. And I could barely drink through a straw. Like, barely. On top of all of that, I was still nursing my daughter. And I'm not going to go into the TMI details.
No, please no.
I will not. I will just say that if you're not able to nurse your child, when you're used to nursing your child, there's just too many things to worry about. And so that was a whole thing we had to plan around. And I was so thankful for Zach Smith and my friend Patty, who kind of helped me with that situation. But yeah, it was so worth it, because on camera, you don't see me suffering as a human in that costume. You see this badass demon. One last thing I'll say in that costume, our hair makeup artists also have these really cool dragon claws.
Yeah.
That they slip on your fingers, but they look like claw nails. And so creeping and crawling and jumping and thrashing around the cage was like a whole thing I had been practicing and prepping for with my personal trainer, like doing all kinds of squats and deadlifts and crawling exercises. Like I really prepped for this role. However, I did not know that I would have these claws. So trying to jump and thrash and lunge at the cage with these claws, those were the things that threw me. It wasn't the prosthetics. It wasn't the teeth. It wasn't me being like basically naked. Oh my gosh. Yes. I broke my toe on this set. So because I couldn't like put my hands on the ground because of the claws, I was really relying on my feet to do everything, the lunge and push and you know, balance. Tori handcrafted this collar, this leather collar with an actual chain, and actually chained me to the cage so that when I lunged, it would pull me back a little. Like we wanted it to be believable that I couldn't get out. But during one of the lunges, there was a little chain link from that entire chain that got stuck on one of my toes. And I did a lunge at one point. Tori's like, I need you to lunge like more intensely, like be angrier. And I went for it, and I didn't realize the chain was stuck on me, on my toe. And then I just feel, I just like screamed, like at the top of my lungs, I screamed. I know I sound like a chipmunk, so it probably wasn't that scary. But then again, like creative genius over here, takes my scream in the audio of the camera, and she warps it to make it the demon's roar. She made the demon roar out of me screaming because I broke my toe in that cage. So it was a wild time, but it was incredibly fun. And I truly scared a couple people on set. Like when I first walked in the demon outfit, some of our really good friends and the crew members were like, they did not know. I told them there was a creature. I didn't spoil a thing. And I walked in, and there were people like, even a couple like very religious people who were working with us, and they were like,
they're like, oh, the devil.
The devil is here. Like, and I'm like, hey guys, that's me. No, it's Sheila. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. So in the end, it was all worth it. I mean, the picture speaks for itself. It is so cool. And like Tori also, on top of everything else, she edited it and she colored it. Like she just went above and beyond. It was insane. So that, it's like, of course, yeah, Tori's like, I don't know what to do with all this praise. It's like, it's what it is. I'm not like gushing about you, like out of, you know, nothing. It's real. Like it's the truth. So there you go.
I mean, Tori did a good job on that cage music video. Like I said, I loved the natural lighting that was mixed with the certain colors and certain tones of the whole video. I liked what she was doing with it. It had me like really sucked into it. And I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. You know, I know the music video is going around the festival circuit right now, but I like how she, the ending of the video between the transformation from the beast to the human, where actually the beast was really the beast the whole time, and the human was mostly like the alter ego. It kind of reminded me of like Batman, you know, Bruce Wayne's Batman and Batman's Bruce Wayne. And I love how you did the twist between that of you and the demon.
Yeah, again, just like, I'll let Tori talk about it too. I'll let you talk, right? No. That just kind of came out of nowhere, because when she showed me the storyline she had in mind, you know, I loved everything. I loved that she took my initial idea, like the lyrics, and she made them very literal in some aspects and then ambiguous in other aspects. When she's like, oh yeah, you're playing the demon too, I was like, how? First of all, how am I going to play both? We had to flip the world, right? Day one, I was the circus showrunner girl. Day two was the demon. But it just kind of came out of nowhere. And she's like, oh, yeah, dude, this is going to be a psychological thriller. Like, there's a whole reason that you are going to play both characters. There's a reason behind it. So Tori can talk about that, what you were thinking.
Yeah, I think originally we were trying to decide if, or, I didn't know if I wanted it kind of like Fight Club, where it ends up being the same person and she's just going through it all internally. But instead, it's more of like left up to interpretation. And it can be literal or it can be metaphorical that way. And I definitely thought it would help if Sheila played both characters as, being an actress, like to be able to like dive into each character so that it would just portray better in the end.
Yeah, I was very thankful in the end also, even though it was a lot of work and almost traumatizing with that broken toe, but it was so worth it. I was thankful in the end because exactly what Tori said, like, as an actor, when you are given an opportunity, like, I didn't approach Tori with this music video idea. She approached me and I was like, take it, do whatever you want. Like, I'm open, right? And she almost like created that opportunity for me. I never would have thought of something like this, Like, I'm more like super romance. I love fantasy and I love comedy. I love little tidbits of horror and thriller in there, but Tori just made it next level. And like really getting to dive into this, like, she's so full of herself. She, this circus runner, the showgirl, she is like overly confident. Like, she knows she's the shit. But then this whole other thing, this creature in a cage is just tortured. It's frustrated. It's like, how could you do this to me? Like, I trusted you. Now you're putting me in a box. Now you're using me, right? And then in the end, it's just too much to be contained. So
yeah, I think I wanted it to be, I don't really like basic music videos where we're just seeing somebody sing. It's just really boring to me. I'd rather make a short film that just has music, basically, in my mind. It's kind of a lot of films I've directed in the past are similar to that. And I almost wanted it to be more, I wanted people to, like, I want to see a movie about this. I want to see a full story of how this all progressed up to this point, kind of thing. And so I think that was kind of the end goal for me, story-wise.
Yeah, I think it really worked out and it was pretty good. So where can everybody find you guys on social media to know what you guys are going to be doing next?
So I encourage everybody to follow both of us because Tori has her own production company and I, make all these other things outside of music and songwriting. I'm also a filmmaker. I do modeling. But I would say follow us both because we're both constantly sharing what we're up to. I'm under Facebook as Sheilava. It's SHEILAVA. Or you can just think Sheila VA because those are my middle initials. Same as Instagram under Sheilava. Tori, I believe, your Facebook is Tori Rice, and then she's under Cinema Chick 96, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then did you have any other profiles? I'm trying to think. Do you have X? Twitter X?
No, I have a LinkedIn, but nobody uses that anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, those two, I would say anybody who's interested in seeing what we're up to, mad, we are still in the very early stages of planning. Like wardrobe is priority. Props are coming next. We have an incredible team already put together of over 30 people, cast and crew, just like everybody helping us out here. And we are still, day after day after day working on this to see what other pieces we need to put together as dark and twisted and melancholy as possible.
Yeah, so where can people, get the perks for the upcoming Mad video?
Okay, so if you go to Indiegogo and you type in Mad music video, or you can even type in the web link, it's igg.com/going mad. Or again, it's all over our social media right now because we're just like, we're so thankful for everybody's support, but we have a little bit of a ways to go. So it's on my Facebook, Instagram. It's all over Tori's as well. Click on the campaign. It'll take you straight to Indiegogo page. And we have a ton of perks. Like if people want to meet us, there's a perk where they can have dinner with the cast and crew. If they want the original Mad poem, I'm handwriting 15 of them. There's only 15. So I'm handwriting it because it's a pretty deep, really emotionally charged poem. And that was, again, how the song came to be, was because of that. We have other perks. Like there's still one left where whoever purchases it can name a character. And then we have others like we can make a personalized thank you video from one of our characters. We have a couple guys coming out on set to do behind the scenes videography interviews because they want to make a little documentary of the making of this. So that's going to be like next level. And then there's producer perks as well. The thing I tell people the most is like, they see what we're doing and they get excited about it. And I'm like, why just get excited one time? Like, come on board with us for the next one. We have a producer's perk where if you become executive producer on this, you're automatically associate producer on our very next film without having to lift a finger. Like, you're already in the next one. And, you know, we treat our producers like royalty. We want them to be upset anytime they want to be upset. Come to dinner with us, come to the wrap party, come to the, you know, the public screenings we have at film festivals, come to the private screening we have at our house. Like, join us. Like, you're not just giving us money, but you're becoming one of us. So they can find those on Indiegogo under that campaign, Going Mad, or just check out our social media pages. They will find it there.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on and, you know, sharing the story. I had a blast with you guys.
Yeah, thank you. And what else I'm missing? I just feel like I kept blabbing on.
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much everything. Like, we're working really hard and expecting that at all. And that's a lot that we're dealing with.